Hello everyone, Gamer in Paradise here. I'm playing some older indie games right now, and I decided to revisit FTL, which stands for Faster Than Light. It's an older roguelike game. You have a ship, and you've got a variety of different layouts and different species of ships you can choose from. I've already unlocked a couple, and I'm going to play as the Zoltan ship in this run. Uh, the story is that we are the last hope of the Federation. Our ship possesses vital intelligence to defeating the Rebel flagship, and we have to escape the pursuing Rebel fleets in order to defeat the flagship by upgrading our ship before we get there. It's a pretty difficult game. A lot of loot is RNG based, and if you die, you have to restart. With that said, let's get going. So here I am navigating through the beacons in my sector screen. I'm going to jump to this distress beacon to see what there is. Depending on your ship's weapons, upgrades, or crew, you can have different outcomes. Now, I got some hull damage, but I'm not worried about it. These nebulas slow down the Rebel fleet because you can't see where they are, and I immediately get unlucky by having my ship boarded. Now, since I haven't played in a while, I'm going to make some amateur mistakes. What I'm trying to do right now is vent all the oxygen from rooms that my crew members are not in order to suffocate the invaders. Now, due to my sensors being disrupted by the nebula, I can't see how many intruders there are or where they are, but I can tell what they are damaging based on the red damage indicators on my ship display. As you can see, I've made a couple of stupid mistakes. I should have put my other two crew members in the weapons room and the shield room in order to hold them off from damaging my hull. I also opened up and then closed too many doors at once because I was trying to delay their movement for as long as possible. So because I didn't station my crew members in the shield room, now the invaders can damage my shields, which you can see in the lower left. Now if this were in combat, this would mean that my ship has lost a layer of shields, which are the blue dots on the upper left. As you can see now, they've broken through, and my crew members are vastly outnumbered, so I'm going to retreat them to the med bay where they can heal. A good trick is to try and lure the enemy into your med bay, so that way you can be healed while you are fighting them, and you can almost always guarantee win a fight by doing this. But because there is no one to fight them, all I can rely on is my door integrity to hold them off as the oxygen drains from each room that they break into. As you can see, my ship's in pretty bad shape right now. Luckily, I'm not in combat, or else I'd probably be dead already. Just gotta make sure that the oxygen is drained for a while before closing all the doors to make sure there's no one left. But you can't run back into the rooms until the oxygen has replenished to a certain level. You can see in the upper left you've got an O2 meter. It says how much oxygen is in your ship overall, but certain rooms can still have no oxygen if, say, you vented the rooms or their hull is breached. Now I'm going to skip to when I've already repaired the ship, and I'm going to travel to this next distress beacon. Let's see what's up. Okay, they want us to try and help with their station defenses, but since I don't have any more advanced options, all I can do is fire and get a bigger reward. I don't really have any resources to buy anything at the store, so I'm just going to skip it. And here's my first real fight of the game. Now, combat is pretty simple in the first couple sectors. Most ships only have one or no layer of shields, and they only have basic weapons, typically. Now, this ship has pretty much already lost. I've taken out its shields, its weapons, and its drones in one hit, because my halberd beam can pierce a single layer of shields and still do damage to the rooms underneath. It's pretty rare, but since it comes as a default weapon on this ship, it makes it very good. You get rewards for every ship that you either destroy or kill the crew in. Here are my weapons. It shows you the halberd beam's required power, time to recharge, as well as the missile launcher and its related stats. I'm looking at the map right now to see what location I want to go to next. Typically, you don't want to run through each sector too fast, because then you miss out on ships that you can defeat, especially early on, very easily, which give you a lot of scrap that you can use to buy upgrades, because you will need them in later sectors. This is a very easy to defeat drone. Its weapons can't pierce my shields because most beam weapons can. The one I have is an exception, so I'm not really even worried at this fight. As you can see, it's almost dead already, and its drones are all flying. Everything's going pretty smoothly. But this is not going to be the case later on in the game. Okay, so I've destroyed the ship. I want to investigate the station, and I get a little bit of resources for doing so. Here's my ship's upgrade screen. I can see weapons, shields, oxygen, other subsystems. I want to upgrade my engines because the more powerful my engines are, the more chance I have to dodge. And the reason why I want to upgrade my engines early on is because my ship has a unique set of shields. You can see the enemy has regular blue shields, but my Zoltan ship has unique shields where it can absorb 5 damage points at the start of any round. It also blocks enemies from teleporting either crew or bombs onto my ship, so I don't even have to worry about taking hull damage at the start. So I want to try and improve my crew's dodge engine performance by maxing out my engine skills pretty early on. As you can see, my crew are stationed in these different rooms: engines, weapons, and piloting. There's also shields, security, and sensors. If I get crew later on, I'll put those in those stations and they will improve their performance as well. And for the shields, engines, and weapons, as the crew stay in those positions longer, they get experience, which will slightly increase their performance. Again, another very easy fight. The ion weapon it has can sometimes knock out shields, but I'm not too worried about that, especially given my unique ability. Easy win. The crew of the ship that I saved are very thankful for my service, and they give me some slight rewards. Now let's take a look at where we want to go next. Not too many locations, but I want to upgrade my engines again first. The more dodge, the better. I can also shift power between different subsystems. Right now, I don't even really need any points into my blue shields, since nothing can get through the green shields at first. So I'm just going to give more juice to those systems right now. Now with my halberd beam, what I'm doing is I'm targeting the arc that it sweeps when it fires. I want to hit their shield room first, since it can take out the shields as you just saw, which causes it to do more damage to the other rooms once the shields are down. Now I have a choice to let them go, but typically destroying a ship will give you more resources than letting them go. Occasionally, especially early on, if they give you a lot of fuel or missiles, those are pretty expensive at that point, so if the cost of those is worth more than the scrap you'd get otherwise, I would say let them go. Now this is a stress beacon there, and I'm going to jump a little early to it. Maybe I shouldn't have, but since I have a beam weapon, I use that to cut out the ship, which is a more elegant option, and that gives me more resources. Yeah, up to the next beacon, and let's see what we have. Okay, I got a quest marker from eating the ship, which we'll see in the next sector. Now, your main goal, every sector, is to get to the exit beacon. If you don't, you die. Now, sometimes they have little trading posts, which will take some of your missiles or drones, which I'm not using right now, and I get essentially a free reactor upgrade out of it. Now, on this screen, you can choose which sector you go to next. Since I'm a Zoltan, I could go to the Zoltan, but since I already have the Zoltan ship, I don't want to really deal with that. And the Mantis, they like to teleport a lot. But since all I have to do is just vent my rooms every time I get boarded, I'm not too worried about that. So I'm looking to see which sectors have the most potential routes. Let's use this one. And lo and behold, they have a bypass unit for my shields. Of course they do, and I'm immediately bored. But this time, I'm just going to run straight to the med room and vent all the air out of everything I can. You can pause to do some more fine-tuning in your combat, which is very helpful. Now, here I make another amateur mistake. I forget to open the doors to the air locks right away on the side that they have invaded, which means that they can spend more time damaging my systems, and basically, it's a stupid mistake that I shouldn't have made. So as you can see, because of my mistake, now they're able to damage my weapons. And the more they damage my weapons, the more it causes hull damage as well. So, once again, try to empty the oxygen from these rooms as fast as possible. Hopefully they don't damage the oxygen systems. If they do, then you're in trouble because your crew will take damage from the vacuum as well. But luckily that's not the case right now. I'm trying to keep them trapped in this area since there's not really much else they can do. I've got them stuck in this airlock, but they're probably going to break through pretty fast since mantises have a melee combat bonus. Now I turned off the oxygen just to deprive the rooms that are also locked of oxygen, which I didn't really need to do, so I'm going to turn that back on. You can see they are slowly dying vacuum exposure, but still they're probably going to chew through a few more doors before that's the case, but I'm going to close them all as they try to do so. And there we go. Close all the doors, the oxygen come back, and I'm going to skip to the point where I have everything fixed back up, and it is off to the next beacon we go. Now these guys want me to help them, but as it turns out, a Zoltan ship is here anyway. It calls me a criminal for trying to help them, which there's really no way you can know, but now you're stuck fighting them, and it sucks, but what else are you going to do? Now, since this is a Zoltan ship I'm fighting, it has super shields as well, and my halberd beam cannot pierce them, which means I have to drop those shields before I can do any damage to their internal systems. So this fight's going to take a little while. Okay, so my beam managed to break through his shields and damage their piloting systems. That's usually pretty good because piloting, once it's knocked out, the ship cannot dodge almost any projectiles. But beam weapons, they are direct hit weapons. There's no way to dodge them once they fire. So it doesn't really matter in this case, but for other weapons like missiles and lasers, it is definitely helpful. Now, he just got hit through my shields into my weapons room. As you can see, since my weapons room has taken damage, I no longer have enough power to fire the halberd beam, so I need to try and switch over to missiles. Now, as you noticed, I had to switch my missile to the primary slot because another unique bonus of the Zoltan is that they provide a energy bar to whatever system room they are currently in. Now, the fire almost kills this crew member right here, so I have to get him out ASAP. Luckily, my weapon systems can still fire the missiles, so I'm trying to keep their weapons down, prevent me from sustaining any more damage. But since I couldn't extinguish the fire enough, now my weapons are completely offline, and I need to get out of here. Since I moved my other fully healed pilot to extinguish the fire, I'm going to have my partially healed crew member get in the pilot seat, and we're going to jump to another sector. I'm going to fast forward to repairs, since luckily this beacon is empty. And now that our system's up and running again, I want to try and get to this quest marker. Luckily, no one's here. Alright, the rebels are harassing a cargo ship, and since I have upgraded my weapons from the last time, I can now use my missiles and my halberd beam. What this also means is that if my weapons take another point of damage in the future, I'll only lose my missile launcher while still having my halberd beam ready to charge. But even if you're not using multiple weapons, having an extra point or two into weapons can help prevent them being knocked offline. Alright, not too much rewards, and I have to look out for this anti-ship battery locking on me, but not too bad otherwise. Now I can try to sneakily get a little bit of scrap by not fighting the ship, but I'm pretty confident I can take this thing out without taking any real damage. So I set the arc of the halberd beam to overlap through as many rooms as possible in order to maximize damage. If you're new, you can do it while you're paused in order to get the feel of things calmly, but since it has such a long reload time, you can do it while it's loading and not really have to worry about too much, especially early on. Now here I divert some power from oxygen, basically telling my crew to hold their breath for a little bit, but it turns out it was unnecessary. Alright, next beacon. Okay, this is the Mantis ship. Luckily, it doesn't have a teleporter. I'm going to try and knock out their shields first in order to maximize damage. And there we go. Wasted a missile, but that's fine. Now here I'm looking at which jump points I can get to from each place, because I don't want to overlap any place I've already been. Okay, so this is near a star that likes to throw out solar flares. So the sooner we can get this ship defeated, the faster. Luckily, the solar flares damage both you and the enemy ship, so sometimes they work out in favor. Once again, the halberd is quick work, and we still have to stick around, unfortunately. Hopefully it won't damage us. Alright, let's get out of here. Stores are good for refueling, repairs, weapons, but you always want to make sure you have enough resources, because sometimes you'll find something really good, but you won't have enough scrap right away, and it's a waste to try and come back later for it, typically. Now here I see a couple good weapons, the heavy laser, the charged laser. I'm leaning more towards the charged laser because it has a faster reload time. Well, the glaive beam is really good, but since I already have a halberd beam, it's basically overkill, and it has more power requirements and a longer charge time. And I don't really need that. Now there are upgrades that can reduce the charge time, but I don't have those right now, and I don't want to waste too many credits on a weapon that's essentially unwieldy for me. Usually you want to slowly upgrade your firepower. You don't just want one big weapon, because then if it goes down, you're stuck defenseless. Having a couple small weapons that can gradually chip down their shields is preferable to having one big swing that can potentially miss. Do some repairs. Put 1 bar of power in because I only need 2 bars for those shields, and I want to have the option of using this charged laser later on. Want to help out this civilian. No reason not to, especially since I have Zoltan shields, which will delay the teleporter from ambushing my crew. Now my crew just got a bump up in their performance because they dodged that missile. And it looks like my halberd beam started a fire. Excellent. So once again, they're sitting ducks. Nice reward for my good deed. And now I have enough scrap to upgrade my weapons again. So missile weapons in this game consume ammo. You can see right there next to my fuel is the missiles and the drones. I don't have any drones right now, but missile weapons can be useful, especially for ships with a lot of shields. But you have to mind your ammo, since if you run out, losing a lot of effectiveness. Now I'm not using any drones, so I'm going to sell those, get some good scrap back, and let's see what I can do with them. Actually, I think my ship is doing just fine right now, so I'm going to save them up for something else. Never know if something might catch my eye. See, like these guys want to upgrade my doors, but they're already maxed out, so nothing to do there. Alright, now, since I don't like to fight the rocks, they have a lot of tough ships and missiles, I'd rather fight the Zoltans. Well, this is it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.